Check, check.
Hello.
All right, good morning, everyone. Let's call the order for the Mojave La Paz Performance Review Committee for May 27, 2021, 9 a.m. And if we could get a roll call, please.
Good morning, everybody. Is Kenda Robinson present? Tommy Taylor? Here. Joe Throneberry?
Here.
Rocky Vicera? We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Just real quick, we have Christine Murphy with us this morning. DES is New Business Services. Just wanted to introduce her to everybody. And if you'd like, you can get up and talk to the Performance Review Committee. All right. Anybody else that would like to be introduced? All right. Performance Review Committee agenda. So normally Kenda is the chair for this committee. I'll be taking over as the chair for this meeting. And then as we get through the agenda, we'll be trying to select a new chair for this committee. Item 1, discussion and possible action regarding approval of the March 25th, 2021 meeting minutes. Does anybody have any questions or changes that need to be made? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the March 25th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Rocky with a motion and Tommy with a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Item 2, discussion and possible action regarding review and accept performance reports for adult dislocated worker, youth business services, and the one-stop operator. Director Smith.
Thank you, Chairman Thornberry. At this time, I'm going to ask Mary to come up and give a report. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. So we will start out with business services goals program here. I don't know which. Oh, you have enrollment and expenditure first in your book. I'm just looking over Tommy's shoulder. Effective as of April, the adult program is meeting or exceeding enrollment and enrollment goals. They've far exceeded training goals, but for supportive services goals, they had the lowest month yet in the month of April. We're looking at if there is a backlog of services since we've been short of staff especially in like Havasu and Bullhead. I'm happy to announce that we are fully staffed. We will be fully staffed effective Tuesday. So we'll see if there's any backlog where we can make up some of that. But I believe that due to the stimulus checks, the pandemic unemployment, that there has not been as much of a need in the community, and that's been reflected in the lack of people being in need of supportive services. DW, of course, we moved the money, as you know, from the last board meeting. So those goals are going to roll up under the adult program. The training goal is met, but again, supportive services were down, were low. The youth program is trucking along very consistently month after month. As you see, they've already exceeded all their goals. And then what one do you have next? Business services? Okay, so now we'll move on to business services. Updated our Excel spreadsheet of all the contacts, all the business contacts. And what I did was I added a new line here so you could see year to date out of a goal of 800. Jennifer has had 850 contacts with businesses, so she's at 100% plus. Job fairs and hiring events. She could probably do one of these every day with the demand that's out there for employees. So she has almost doubled that goal. Employer forums, again, she and Jason are working really hard on the Healthcare Collaborative, the Chamber Business Group, the Manufacturing Training Center at the Kingman Airport Business Industrial Park. So she's double, 6 out of 3, actually at 200% for that one. And site visits, that's been down due to COVID because they haven't been able to travel and meet in person with people much, but she's got that up, so she is at 95% of goal, 38 out of 40. Any questions about business services? Okay, so we'll move on to Jason Millen, one-stop operator. We're in the quarter 2 of his contract. He's at 96%. Primarily, the issue that we're having is again due to COVID. We haven't been meeting. We haven't had core and community partner meetings. We were on track to set up a meet and greet type of event, and DES has said that they won't allow vocational rehabilitation staff to meet in person. So that'll still be something that's out of Jason's control. And hopefully later this year he'll be able to start that up. Jason and I discussed that at least he'll schedule a monthly phone call for all frontline staff that they can participate, talk about co-casing, referrals, things like that. So at least it'll be scheduled. EO between Jason and Jennifer, they have all the EO assurances and the EO monitoring up to date. Fairly organized on the shared drive. They're still working. We did start our workshops again in person, so the workshop calendar goal that he has to share that out with all the partners. So effective next week, we're going to be having in-person workshops again, preparing for hopefully the influx of people once the pandemic unemployment insurance ends in Arizona and people are incentivized to go to work with the $2,000 and $1,000 bonus, that we should see a big influx or hopefully even a small influx of people coming into the job centers to look for work. Any questions about one-step operator? Okay, that concludes the reports.
Thank you very much, Mary. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the performance reports for adult dislocated worker, youth, business services, and the one-stop operator. Moved by Tommy Taylor.
Second.
Second by Rocky. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same. Motion carries. Item 3, discussion only regarding COVID-19 impacts on Arizona work. So I guess I'll start. So the first thing, well, we'll just limit it. So I know that the County Board of Supervisors has, I want to make sure I use the right word here, giving guidance to all county departments to get to pre-COVID conditions. So I was at the board meeting, the last board meeting, and the library was highlighted in making sure that they have full access, and they talked about their programs that are either restarted or going to be restarted shortly. And, you know, it just got me thinking about, you know, our job centers in that same position, you know. So just want to have that discussion. You know, do we still need appointment only? Is that working? Is it not? Excuse me. I know that Michael and Jason gathered some data on, how we're doing with appointments. Are we maximizing? How's that working in Bullhead and Havasu? So are we doing everything we can to make sure we're servicing everyone, I guess is the question that I have.
Chairman Thornberry, I'd like to interject for just a
Sure.
second if I could. I would agree with your comments in regards to the board and the direction they have given. That is correct. They have asked that all departments open currently as they were pre-COVID. With that being said, they also still recommend social distancing. So in regards to the operations of the one-stop center, as long as everybody is still social distancing, there should be no reason that we shouldn't return to pre-COVID. I will defer to the workforce manager, and I would like to have Mary give some comments and feedback on that as well and see where we can go.
Actually, James and I have been talking about this. I think in the Kingman, we'll have to redo our striping, but we could get up to 7 people and keep with the new CDC guidelines, keep 3 feet of social distancing. We can talk with Public Works again to see if potentially we could get plastic dividers between each computer, but when they put up the plexiglass that's in there now, they weren't sure how they would be able to mount that. There would have to be poles, so we'd have to have 3 poles on each side, which might present a tripping hazard. Or so we decided the way it is right now is the easiest way, but we could, if we need to, we could re-examine that depending on what the demand is. So we could fit at least 3 on, we could fit 3 on each side with social distancing, and we could put 1 on the front end in the Kingman Job Center. And in the Havasu Job Center, we have limited that to 2. We probably could fit 3, you think, James? Okay, so we could go up to 4 in Lake Havasu. And the other job centers are owned by DES, and they are closed. We do by appointment only, 2 people, up to 2 people in each job center with our staff. But depending on when DES will open those up, which I think Kenda's going to weigh in.
Thanks, Mary. Yes, I am actually. The director has put out July will be opening. I know they're hiring here in Kingman, so that's a good thing. They're hiring a person. It will probably never go back to 3 people in there at a time working, but we're striving for 2. And the direction we have from Director Weishart at this point is we're looking at July. Don't have a date yet, but once that one opens, Havasu will open. I don't believe Parker's ever going to reopen as far as us staffing that, and then Bullhead also will open all at the same time. So we're thinking July.
Okay.
So, Mary, if I could ask if you could please just give a recommendation of when you feel that we could go to open appointments and not have appointments scheduled, and is that possible at this time?
I would have to look at did you have the numbers on the demand, Jason? The only thing I'm worried about is if with social distancing in the lobby right now, we're limited to 5. So we could re-examine that to see when we used to have the 10 computers fully functional in there, there were plenty of times when it was all full. We have relatively new staff in the Kingman Job Center with Shy. She's on 3 months. Oh, she's okay, so it's longer. So she's just about fully trained, but Kimberly is brand new. So they probably couldn't handle 10 people in there. We actually don't even have 10 computers anymore. So we would have to look at that. But I'm thinking we could ramp it up, like say open it up to 6 by Think we could do it by next week, the week?
I mean, I guess the main thing that and I already know the answer, but just so I can voice it, I just want to make sure no one's being turned away due to COVID restrictions and space and appointment times and everything else. So as long as we're servicing everyone that needs service, then I think we're doing the right thing. I don't think we need to change something drastically. I just want to, my personal business has seen a humongous increase in the last 2 weeks of people coming back, so I'm sure that it's going to be the same here shortly. So I just want to make sure that we're thinking about, are we servicing everybody? Do we have any restrictions that could be eased or changed so that as that flow starts to increase, we're prepared for that?
Yeah, we have been thinking about that, and we will ramp it up. We can have that by June 1st, where at least in Kingman and Havasu, we'll go to 4 in Havasu, and we'll go to 7 in Kingman, and then we'll see if it's still getting to be where people are having to wait for appointments. The thing is just, if the job center is already full and we have a walk-in, that person may have to come back.
Gotcha.
But we could just say, hey, we have an appointment at 2. You want to go grab something to eat and come back?
So let me ask you this, best practices. So COVID forced us into this by appointment only. Is that more efficient than walk-ins? Or if a walk-in comes in and there's somebody that's not busy, they're still getting helped, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So, okay.
So just to circle back as well, I'd just like to bring up something that came up in the walkthrough with the past board members a couple weeks ago, really talking about hours of operation. I would suggest and ask Mary if you could work with your team and maybe bring it to the executive committee, looking at with the board, with the DS, and the way things are going to open up, and us being responsible to make sure that we help people through this process. Can we look at our hours of operation and maybe see if we could extend that? So what I mean by that is there an opportunity where we can keep people or rotate or do shifts so that we're not closing down the job center from 12 to 1, or extending hours or flexing hours, so that are we tracking the hours of most demand for people coming into the office? So what I mean by that is, are we seeing a peak at 8? Are we seeing a peak at 2:30? What are those operational hours, and how do we best adjust, just so that we're providing 100% service to our community and making sure everybody meets Chairman Thornberry's directive of nobody be turned away?
Yes, I will. We will look. James and I will look at staffing to see if there's ways where we could stay open till 7, maybe a couple days a week. And I think we could figure out a way to rotate lunches so that we could have one staff person in the job center from 12 to 1.
Thank you so much, Mary. That's greatly appreciated, and I think our community will be receptive to that. And I think with that being said as well, if we're finding that the need is not there, we can always revisit it, and obviously as the manager, you will make those decisions and just keep the board apprised.
Will do.
And I mean, probably there might be some logistics with the county too. I mean, time the doors are open. I don't know if, open and closing other than normal hours probably has to be taken into consideration. I know when the city went to the 410s, there was a lot of pushback in the beginning, City of Kingman, but now they're finding that their peak times are actually before and after normal business hours. So those people that work all day, but, and obviously we're workforce, so if they're working all day, they probably don't need our help. But, I just want to make sure again that we're being flexible, and, if there is a need out there during non-normal times, that we're taking care of it. And I know, I've talked to some folks in the job centers, they're willing to stay over if they need to, or make accommodations for people. So I appreciate all those efforts.
Mary, I need some clarity. You had said you're going to open it to 6 in next week, but then you said in July. So I just need clarity when you're planning to open that up to more in there at a time.
Oh, when James and I were talking about it, we had talked about opening at 6, either June 14th or July 1st. But given the new push we're going to make it happen by June 1st.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. I don't think we're anywhere near meeting the demands. I think it looks like we might be meeting the demands because people are used to not being able to the service. Because I know it's like build them and they'll build it and they will come kind of a thing. You open it up and you will get the people, I think, coming in. So I think it's not going to take long for you to realize that demand is there. It just, they need to know they can come because people are so used to, and also they're used to not working because of the job, I think it's going to make a big, huge difference because now they have to do the work search. Now, July 10th, they won't get the extra 300. So I think once we start moving, the demand will be there.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Anybody else on COVID-19? All right. So I guess next what I'll do is I'll ask for volunteers for a new chair for this committee.
I, Tommy Taylor, will volunteer to chair the committee.
All right. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that. And I promise to be there with any help you need. So as the chairman of the Full Workforce Development Board, I appoint Tommy Taylor as the new chairperson for the Performance Review Committee. That was easy. All right. Committee announcements. So just a few more things for me. I really want to thank Mary and Jennifer and Jason for the outreach they've been doing in the communities. I was asked to be part of the roundtable on strategies for retention and recruitment of employees in Lake Havasu. We had 18 businesses signed up. I think we had 15 that showed up. There was a lot of good discussion there. We had economic development there as well. And, we talked about different strategies in these tough times, changing your job descriptions. So many times we talk about what are the barriers to employment, and from employers we hear soft skills, right? We hear that all the time. But when you look at their job description, there's no soft skills there. It's all technical. So that was one of the things that I brought up, buy into the company, pride in the job, loyalty, those are all things that help. A lot of the companies that we talked to talked about, small barbecues, free T-shirts, things that don't really impact your bottom line, but really, keep that connection with your employees. So, kudos to Jennifer and Jason for organizing that. I hope to see the ones coming for the other cities soon. I think that was very impactful. I know that my business has been contacted by a couple of those folks, looking for some staffing help. And I think it was just a good share of ideas. And I think the next one will just be better because we've already learned so much in the first one. So great job on that. Thanks to the board members that did our job center certification inspections down in Havasu and Parker. That was very helpful as well. I think we all learned again this year. And June 4th, we have the one set up for Kingman and Bullhead. So I know we've been talking about getting this done for over a year now, so I'm glad to see we've got the first half done. And once again, thanks to the board members who volunteered their day to help us out with that. The only other thing that I have, we've talked about, we used to have the managers' meetings and now we're not. I'm wondering if it's too much to ask by the next time we have a performance review committee, if we could have, so right now we see everything broken down by youth, dislocated worker, the different categories. How much more difficult would it be to break that down, at least enrollments by job center, so that we can see, it just seems to me that Kingman does fantastic and the other areas struggle. And I don't think it's because of what we're doing in those other areas, right? I think it's because of access, because of, advertising, ECUs from the facilities, but I think, again, if we measure that, if Havasu had 5 this month and 3 last month, then obviously we're doing better, right? But if they had 15 last month and now they have 5, and they went down by 60%, but Kingman went up by 90%, maybe we can try to determine what we're doing that's working so well here, but doesn't seem to be translating to the other sites. So, I don't know how much work's involved in that. I think just for an enrollment side of it, and Mary, I don't know what you think.
Yeah, that's something that we could look at because the board would, or the PRC effective July 1st would approve new goals for the Community Services Department as the service provider. So I could work on adding enrollments for each city. I'll just have to figure out how to break it down in the spreadsheet, and I can put out a proposal for this is how we could measure that, and proposal for new goals.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not looking for Bullhead's enrollment numbers to compete with Kingman's. I don't think that's going to happen. But at least if we're measuring it by job center, then I think we could, if there is a red flag, that we see it in time to, see if there's anything else that we're not doing that we can do. I mean, it was amazing having James with us on those inspections down there in Havasu and Parker, and, very refreshing to see that, everything's covered and we're doing the right thing, and, we're getting the word out there. It's just, as a performance review committee, I think it would be helpful, I mean, the graphs that we have now are very helpful, but it's kind of a big picture. So, I think it would help us focus on each center as well.
Yeah, I'll work on some proposed goals and a new spreadsheet to report, and we can send that out. Rachel could send that out electronically, so we can have it, everybody in agreement before the next performance review committee meeting.
Great. All right, that's all I had. Director Smith?
Thank you, Chairman. So I just want to report to the board and the committee that I've also been working with different agencies for our PSAs, public service announcements. I've been working with Mary on this as well. One of the things moving forward is as we complete them and have them ready to go, the B will actually run those PSAs for us. As many as we give them, they'll actually run. So that'll be great moving forward for workforce development, really to highlight the different areas within workforce and give each employee, I think, an opportunity to really be highlighted. I know one of the things Mary and I were talking about, and I'm going to ask Mary to speak on it here in a minute, but really just how do we really move the dial, look at the different PSAs, highlight the different employees, and give them the opportunity to really present themselves to the community so that they put a face with the services and really can then reach out and have those conversations. So Mary, if you would, could you please just maybe touch on a little bit what we talked about for a possible PSA to start us?
Sure. We had talked about, as I had previously mentioned, the new incentives to go to work. So we were talking about a flyer that would be, hey, do you know that you could get $2,000 if you go back to work? Call James Reyes. I keep throwing James under the bus today. Call James Reyes to find out, how, something like that, where then we could educate them to what are the parameters that they would have to meet to get the $2,000 award. They're also giving away some scholarships, so to throw Sarah under the bus, we could do something like that for the youth. Would have to be on unemployment, but we could do that more toward the youth. And then if we, if adults come in, we will just refer them to the appropriate program. But yeah, those are the things that we've been thinking of as the initial PSAs.
Yeah, I think those are great ideas, driving traffic to the door, and KNTR will also do our PSAs on Speak Out and Speak Out 2.0 at no charge as well.
No, and I just want to thank Mary for, really reaching out and doing these things. I think this gives some people some opportunities to really highlight what they do in workforce and really just keep us from being that best kept secret. I know we're really starting to change that. I know we're Jen has been working with economic development and Jason and all the outreach you guys are doing, we're going to really see a difference. That's really going to start moving the dial. And I think, too, the more times that people see you guys in the community, they'll recognize you and then know what you do and ask for that support or that service, the business services that we might be able to do. See you at a meeting and maybe they saw the PSA and they're like, oh yeah, that's Jennifer. I need to talk to her at the next CAMA meeting. Hey Jen, I have a question for you. Can we do this? And then so it'll keep things moving. And one of the other things I would suggest, if possible, and we can always circle back, but really looking at our different platforms for getting those messages out, maybe LinkedIn or different other socials, the Facebook or the different constant contact, but really just looking at how we're doing it and not blast a bunch of emails all the time, but maybe pick one area that we're seeing like dislocated worker, take that one particular area and have that be our focus for the month and really focus on that. That would be my suggestion to the Workforce One-Stop Center and see if there's some things that we can do. And maybe we won't even need to do that because of the tsunami that's coming, but if nothing else, at least we're being proactive and thinking it through.
Yeah, I can tell you I've been encouraged to get back involved with LinkedIn over the last couple of months by somebody sitting at this table with me. And it's amazing. I mean, I forgot what kind of connections I had out there. And to wake up and see 11 new messages from industry in our area and see their insight and what they're doing, it's really helped me reconnect with kind of the C-level in Mojave County and see the directions and the unique efforts that the companies are engaging in to try to recruit employees and, understanding that employees have a value and that I think now more than any time in the last 50 years, employers are having that reality check again that, we're just not the boss and they're the workers, but that it has to be a team. And, we talk about this all the time, but Dot Foods is an amazing ambassador in our community that, they don't do it the way most people do, and management works for their employees, and it's truly a team effort, and people are truly proud to work there, and I think, the more companies we get to take that approach, I think the more successful our community and our workforce will be.
I have a couple things I want. I have actually about 3 or 4 things. First of all, the one-stop certification, has anybody notified Della and the workforce? Is that what I should be doing? To let them know we're going to be there? You can just shake your head.
Yes, Della knows that we're going to be there, but Olin is planning to let us into the building, right? But you probably have a key card
Do have a
too,
key, yeah. Yeah.
But I'll just remind Della that it's going to be next week. And
Okay. I don't have one for Bullhead any longer, though. That's so I don't have a card key.
we have one.
You have a fob?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have a fob, but I think they disabled it. But yeah, I left workers. Okay. My second thing is the hiring events. We can be there. We just can't put them on. So Christine and John Deemer from this area both can be there to help. They can be involved. And like I said, at the partner meeting, and I know Jennifer and Deemer work very closely, and I know that she will with Christine as well. So we need to take an active part. They're both dying to get out there and be part of this again. So definitely let us know, let us be there, let us help, and be a big part of the hiring events even before. The only thing they have to do is just run it past me, and then as long as it's not a state-sponsored hiring event, because what the director's afraid of is just everybody's going to go down with COVID, and then we're going to have a big news state-sponsored event, 25 new cases of COVID. So that's the whole thing. Then they'll shut us back down until December. So we're just trying to, but we can be there. They just have to let me know, hey, there's a hiring event. So let them know, let them be part of it, and we can be there 100% to help. Okay. What about the billboard? We talked earlier about the billboard. Is that still something we're discussing or no?
We still are looking in the billboards and making those things happen as well. That's something Mary and I have talked about, as well as other marketing strategies. We've also talked about direct mailings to everybody in the county, providing information on workforce. and we're exploring those. And we should have something, I would say, by our next executive, if not for the full board to review.
Okay, because I think it would be really, if you were going to move forward with that, if it could be done, something like, we're open, you know, something, come see us now, because I think that's going to let people know. So not only just advertising, which I'm thinking that's what you had in mind that you were going to do, but just even come see us, you know, we're open now, we're here to help. So something like that. And the third or fourth and final thing I have is I really do not like the design of this. This is just not working for me, because
I agree.
yeah, sorry, I just want to put it out there. This is bad. I don't like this design at all.
Yeah, okay.
Wanted to put it
Yeah,
out there.
this, to your point, that was something that we had talked about addressing for the full board, as well as the executive committee. This will be updated. Chris Register's been working with IT in regards to the Squirrel Room, to square that away, have that in a box-type shape, so that we can all see one another, engage. Really what the difficulty that we have at this point in time is really our audio in that room. So making sure that anybody that were to call in would have that opportunity. And yeah, that's something that Chairman brought up as well after, you know, our last meeting for engagement. And I really see that here as well. And with us not, you know, I think as we just look at it in general now, with the new guidelines that have been provided by the CDC, it is time to move back to the other room and have more of a round table type sitting situation. And we can do that per the new guidelines. This was originally set up, you know, pre-COVID. It was like, all right, how do we get back into the room and get it to a room where there's actually audio where you can hear people speak as opposed to not.
Yeah, great point. All right. Rocky, did you have anything?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Tommy?
No.
Jennifer? Anything? Yeah. Right. And there is a segment of the population out there that just doesn't understand government, right? And doesn't understand these are their tax dollars at work, and we're people that live here in the community, and we're here to help. Great point. Right, and I think a lot of people do both. Jason, you have anything?
Is there anybody on the phone?
No, we don't have anybody on the phone.
I just want to say we actually had the state equal opportunity walks happen these past 2 weeks. So we had Lindell came down. He walked every location. Some small minor facility things that are newer out there to the ADA laws. Some different stickers on doors was literally all that was found. He went through files of every location, 5 random adults, 5 random youth, 5 random dislocated workers at each location, and then of course he goes through the Arizona Job Connection and the system to make sure about notes, things like that, and that we're keeping documentations all in the right places, and we came out 100%. So besides for the couple stickers on the facilities and one parking space here needs to be
Widened.
a little bit, that was it. And so I always, and handicap signs have to
Be raised up a little bit?
4 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were 4 inches too low, only on this facility. Everywhere else we were good. But when he comes through and he looks at all those files, I mean, it's a day of, kind of stressful moments, and I really got to give it to Sarah and James and their team. They have made those files really easy to go through. And if you've ever sat, I mean, I know, Joe, I know you have, if you open those files, I mean, some of those are this thick, some of them are this thick, and to have to go through that, 5 of each category and sit there while the state EO officer doesn't say a word to you, that's a nerve-wracking day. I lost 5 pounds easily in sweat. But they made it so easy, and the staff, and Lynn even has to call clients and does a survey with clients at each location. And even with clients, without having any prep of anything of, hey, he's going to call, this is what you need to say, just randomly being called, you know, he knows information about what's available to people with disabilities, ADA standards, our equal opportunity laws, are getting out to our clientele and to all of our staff. And I just really, again, want to say thank you to Sarah, James, and their staff.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you to you, because, you know, you had to start that process, and I know you were not looking forward to it, but it went a lot smoother this time, obviously way more prepared. So, James, did you have anything? Sounds great. Yeah, I know that the CDL after hours event, we had, 10 participants. So again, that's great to see that we're stretching that, and we made some new connections. Sarah? All right. Chris, did you have anything?
I don't know how much of what everybody has said was picked up by the audio over there, because they weren't on microphones.
Okay. Lesson learned. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and it's budget time right now, so everybody's busy. Yep, definitely. All right. So, anybody else have anything? If not, I'll call to the public. This is a public meeting. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address the Performance Review Committee? Hearing none, I'll adjourn this meeting.